Shalom. This your boy Yahuah coming back to you once again with another educational, informative, enlightening, and spiritual video. I want to explain to not just everybody, but especially the Hebrew Israelites about this special plant called marijuana. Is it acceptable by the Creator that we could use it? Or is it man-made where it's not meant for human consumption according to the Creator because it's defiled? Okay, well, I'm gonna make this very simple. The thing is, let's get it in scripture. First of all, weed is natural, okay? Or at least it's supposed to be. It's from the earth. You can grow it. It's not where you could just make it in a laboratory and, smoke it. Now, what I mean by that is I'm saying you cannot make marijuana from the ground up. Like, you cannot just make your own version of marijuana, basically, is what I'm saying. That's what I mean by being made in a laboratory. I know that they make them in these large industrialized laboratories. I get that. That's the government marijuana. I get that. But I'm talking about just making it totally from scratch, like the Creator did it. We can't do that. So marijuana naturally is from the earth. It's a herb, but it's a special herb. And it's for our body, but it's more so for our spirit. It has to do with the pineal gland. I don't care how calcified your pineal gland is. When you smoke weed, that mug will open up. It may not open up all the way, but you will get high still. And so really, I think that it's a link. It's a spiritual link or medium to connect with the Creator. Because back in ancient biblical times, the Yahuahs, or aka the Hebrew Israelites, especially Moses or Moshe, he made burnt offerings to the Creator using cannabis. The Bible called it cannabis, but they took that word out of the Bible, eventually, because they didn't want us to understand that marijuana was used in the Bible. But it was also consumed. It wasn't just burnt in burnt offerings or nothing like that. It was also consumed, like ate, literally. But the thing is it was more so used for spiritual means. It was a burnt offering that the high priest would burn continuously on the altar. It was the special blend consisted of cannabis, which is marijuana or cannabis as we call it today, myrrh, frankincense, and some other herb. That was the holy burnt offering, or the most holiest burnt offering that they were burning. Our people were burning back in ancient biblical times. More specifically, it was either Moses or some other prophet or high priest. I got to look into that, but I do know that nonetheless that they were burning in burnt offerings, burnt incense to the Most High. And it was also burnt around large gatherings of our people to calm us down. It wasn't like it was done today where we burnt it by our own means through blunt wraps and all of that stuff, and we smoked it directly. The whole concept of smoking marijuana came from burnt offerings. It's just that's where it evolved from. It started with burnt offerings to the Most High and stuff like that. But eventually, people decided that, man, we can get high from it. I mean, they already knew that, but they knew that once they smoked it directly, through a wrap or something like that, straight to their lips, they knew that they would get higher quicker and that it would last longer. So that's where that came from, to my knowledge. And it's just common sense that that's how it happened. But nonetheless, that evolved to addiction when we started burning it and smoking it directly instead of burning it through an incense where it would just fumigate all throughout the atmosphere, and we would smoke it in moderation. We will inhale it. It was still smoking, but it was inhalation um, very moderately. It wasn't directly where you would, get high quicker. Nor was it ever really meant for us to you know get get high quick from it. You were going to get high from it anyway, so that was the spiritual aspects of it. But from a physical standpoint, when you were doing the marijuana, whether you were smoking it or eating it, it was more medicinal because it was for your body. But when it was for your mind, when you got high from it, that was all meant to connect to your maker. Because see, how it works is really we supposed to fast and pray, but the most I know that most people can't do that. They can't fast. We can pray. That's pretty simple, even though a lot of us are doing that incorrectly. But to fast and pray, to neglect your body, your physical vessel, from eating and drinking, which they would call a dry fast, most people cannot do that. So I believe that the marijuana was a quicker way for us to get to the Creator, to open our pineal gland, our third eye, as they like to call it, so that we could zone out and we could get high, as they call it, so that we could create the medium to connect with the Most High. So we would high our mind from the herbs that the Most High provided so that we could connect with the Most High. But when you smoke it directly, the problem with that, not only you are defiling your body. I understand that marijuana, nobody ever in history has gotten lung cancer from marijuana. That's a fact. However, I don't believe that's true now. I do think that people are getting lung cancer from marijuana simply because they doing it in the blunt wraps. They rolling it in the blunt wraps. And they tell you right there on the packaging that it causes cancer, is carcinogenic, but people still do it anyway. And not only that, um, vaping it is bad too. That's no safer than burning it. I used to do that too. Um, but originally it was meant to be, we could get high to connect with the Most High. You know what I'm saying? And also, if we were going to eat it, then it would help our body in certain ways. We had to carbonize it first, though, as they call it nowadays. They making them into edibles, and I'm gonna get into that too. Now, the Most High is not against marijuana. He created it for not only our body but also for Him, to connect with Him spiritually. But when you smoke it directly, especially when you put it in a blunt wrap, that's defiling your temple. So the Most High ain't with that, because you're putting the marijuana, which He naturally produced, you putting that in an artificially made device called a blunt wrap, whether it's a cigarello or a white owl or whatever. And it tells you right on the packaging, it may cause cancer, it may cause birth defects or whatever. The Most High is not with that, because He knows that that's going to defile your temple. It's going to make you cough. It's going to, you know what I'm saying, over time, it's going to mess your lungs up. Your lungs are going to build up tar up in them. They're going to shrink and they're going to get bad. And, one of your lungs may go bad. One of them may collapse. The Most High is looking out for us. He knows that smoking marijuana it's not bad, because originally it was good because it was being burnt slowly but surely, as burnt offerings to him. And, we were getting high while we were gathered around, you know what I'm saying, that ritualistic offering, burnt offering to the Most High. So it was calming us down. So it wasn't bad in that sense at that time, because it was in the form of a burnt offering. But now today we're burning it directly, and then we're putting it in a carcinogenic blunt wrap. And not only that, a lot of us are smoking hybrid weed. We are smoking weed that is made in a large industrialized indoor, laboratory or manufacturer or whatever. And a lot of times they're putting chemicals on it. I know I've tried government weed. I know that it's not the same weed that you could grow indoors or outdoors or in your backyard or whatever. It is not the same. They tampering with it. Because, see, originally I was smoking and you couldn't tell at first, but then I was like, man, it got a weird aftertaste. And then it just hit me. I was like, they putting chemicals on this. And it really hit me when I started eating it because, I would, carbonize it or whatever and make my edibles. But I stopped doing that because I was like, man, the government, that's why it's free. That's why they regulating it. That's why they legalizing it everywhere, because they trying to kill us with it. Just like they trying to kill us with the GMO foods. And speaking on GMOs, you better believe that regulated, legalized government weed is GMO. It don't have no seeds. And even the crap that's on the streets nowadays, for the most part, is GMO because it don't have seeds. So I'm thinking that, man, a lot of these street dealers, they're going over to the legal states and getting the weed and bringing it back here. They're getting it from the government dispensers where they legalized it in the legal states, and they bringing it back to the states that are not yet legal, and they selling it on the streets. So that's another thing that we're messing up on. The Most High is not with the hybrids. Even though he allow it, he don't want anything, he don't want us consuming anything that don't have seeds. So even if you're dealing with marijuana, he don't want you putting it in your body if it don't have seeds. You know what I'm saying? And let's get that. Because weed ain't nothing but a herb. It's a special herb. So Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 11. And God said, let the earth bring forth the grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. Genesis chapter 1, verse 12. And the earth brought forth the grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself and after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and in which is the fruit of tree yielding seed. To you it shall be meat, shall be food. So marijuana is of the Most High, Yahuah. It's over 250 different strands of marijuana, and they all help the body. Do you honestly think that he put such a great plant down here that is bad for us? That's the government saying that bullshit crap. Okay, I almost cursed, but that's the government saying that bull crap. They want us to depend on the large demonic pharmaceutical companies and the FDA and all of them, who are telling us that, we got to basically buy their junk. The stuff that they take it from nature, and then they make their own version of it, their own synthetic version. So with marijuana, actually, and here's the proof that they know that it's good. I mean, the proof is all around us. If you've just been under a rock all your life or on the moon somewhere and you don't know that marijuana is good, Even the hybrids are good. I mean, it's not good according to the scriptures. It's not, meant for the body, but it still works. But we shouldn't be messing with anything that's not totally wholesome or natural, meaning it don't have seeds and, stuff like that. But the thing is that anything that comes from the earth, not everything is edible, but most of these wild plants are edible, such as the dandelion. It's plenty different types. I'm gonna make a video about wild edibles, wild herbs that are edible and good for the body medicinally in the near future. But right now, I'm focusing on marijuana. So the Most High, He deals. He's okay with us using marijuana. It's just one, it can't be hybrid. Two, it can't be GMO. Three, you cannot burn it and smoke it directly like a lot of the world is doing. The world likes to put it in blunt wraps and all of that stuff and smoke it in glass bongs and stuff like that. I used to do it. I know how it is. But four, he don't want us to idolize it, even if we doing it the right way, which is eating it directly as a herb, because it's just like spinach or arugula, basil, any other herb. It's just special in that it's not only medicinal for the body, but it's also beneficial for your third eye, as they like to call it, your pineal gland. So, which has to do with the spiritual realm for the Most High. Now, don't get it twisted. If you smoking it directly, a lot of times, especially if you get high quick, because that's what a lot of people seek. They want to get high quick, so they smoke it or vape it. The problem with that is you could trip out, you could start hallucinating, and then demons can attack you. That's another reason why the Most High don't want us smoking it. Now if you were making it where it was burning off the tip of it, of something, or just burning it by itself, where it was just burning and going in your local surroundings in the atmosphere, and you were just slowly but surely inhaling it like that, then I tried that too. But most people, they want to smoke it directly. They want that instant high. They want to get high within 5 minutes or so. And the Most High, He deals with patience. He deals with moderation. So, and he wants it to be natural. So, back to what He approves and disapproves. Again, He don't want us messing with eating GMOs, because GMOs, a lot of times, they're tainted. Well, all the time they are. They're grown with artificial, hormones. They're artificially injected with herbicides and sprayed with pesticides and all this type of stuff, and they're seedless. So what do you think they're going to do with you? If they're infertile, then they're going to make you infertile. If they're GMO, genetically modified organisms, or genetically engineered, do you believe that it's not going to mess with your genetics? It is going to mess with your genetics. Genetically modified food messes with people's genetics. It makes them act funny, think weird, you know what I'm saying? And it just messes up their body. And they can't think or act straight. They can't function properly. They can't be productive and, prosperous in life as full as they can be, or as best as the Most High created them to be and wants them to be. So He don't want us messing with seedless GMO foods, including marijuana. It has to come from the earth, and it has to be used in moderation. You know what I'm saying? He don't want us to be high all day, every day. If anything, He wants us to be high off Him, high off the Word. Why would you put His creation, just because it gets you high, it makes you feel good, and it's even medicinal? Why would you put that before Him when He said that He heals? You know what I'm saying? When you fast and you pray unto Him, you know what I'm saying, and you confess your sins and all of that, He'll heal you. He'll heal the nation. Now the herbs, they do somewhat heal, but he'll heal you indefinitely. Like basically, a lot of these herbs or whatever, turmeric, um, ginger root, they do heal to a certain extent. Really, they manage your health. They sustain your health, especially if you already have good health. But they don't totally heal like down to the core. You ever heard of you having a core issue or a core disease? But you know what I'm saying. So like, let's say you go to a pharmaceutical company or your doctor and they prescribe this medication. The medication is only going to cover up the symptoms. It's not going to cure the underlying core issue or core disease or core problem that's causing all of your illnesses or your chronic illness. It's not going to attack the core problem. The Most High will do that though, but He don't allow His herbs to do that. His herbs will temporarily heal you. And again, I don't really like to use the word heal when it comes to the herbs because again, they only sustain your health. Especially if you already have good health, they'll sustain it. They'll just keep it healthy. But if you got bad health, they'll temporarily relieve the pain, just like the pharmaceutical drugs will. But the problem with theirs, of course, is you'll get all these negative side effects. So the drugs, the herbs and stuff like that that are natural in nature, they do the same thing as the artificially made drugs that come from the pharmaceutical companies, without the side effects, though, without the negative side effects. They don't heal you completely. They just basically suppress or temporarily get rid of the symptoms, the negative health symptoms that you have. So you'll feel better for a little bit, especially if you make that your regular diet. If you consistently involve, certain herbs and stuff in your dietary regimen. Whether it's garlic, basil, turmeric, cumin powder. If you like avocados, you like your sea salt, your pink Himalayan sea salt, then you know what I'm saying. Spinach, and a lot of these things are overrated, like spinach and kale. But since I'm talking about marijuana, since marijuana is a herb, it's a super herb, it's a special herb. I'm just bringing those in the mixture. But nonetheless, the Most High, He don't want us. He allows us to use marijuana, but He don't want us to make marijuana an idol. He don't want us to get high to the point where we love it and we just depend on it. We keep running back to it. We just, man, we gotta be high all day, every day. It feels good. I'll be zoning out because see, the thing is, when you do that, especially if you're doing it the wrong way, you smoking it or vaping and you're getting high too quickly, again, demons can come up on you. What are more issues that come with smoking marijuana or getting high too quick or abusing it or, you know what I'm saying, becoming addicted to marijuana? I know this very well. You get a gluttonous spirit upon you. You want to eat everything. They call it having the munchies and all of that. I know that very well. That's one of the main issues with using marijuana. However, what I've learned is if you do it the right way, the biblical way, if you eat it, because again, weed, marijuana, cannabis, it's been established, you know what I'm saying, for thousands of years. And we already know the planet Earth is only a little over 6,000 years old. It's not as old as, millions of years or hundreds of millions and billions of years old, like the scientific communities such as NASA and the NSA and all these government entities have been telling us all of these years. It's only a few thousand years old. And so cannabis has been here since the days of Adam and Eve. I know for a fact marijuana was in the Garden of Eve. I know it was in the garden. It had to have been. because back then everything was pure. When he created everything, everything was already there. Every seed bearing herb or herb bearing seeds. So again, we could use marijuana, but use it in moderation, because if you use it too often, then you'll become addicted. You'll become a gluttonous. You'll want to eat everything. You know what I'm saying? You'll eat all your food up and you'll eat it too fast, and then you'll defile your body even more. Not just because you're having a gluttonous spirit, but because you're overeating. And not only that, you're a lot of times people are overeating the wrong stuff. So you're defiling your temple even more, all because you have, a bad addiction, with smoking weed and all of this stuff. Or you just consuming marijuana the wrong way. You're not doing it the biblical way, which would be, again, to just eat it. You could, there's plenty ways to make edibles with marijuana. You could, first you gotta carbonize it, and then you make your baked goods, or you can get your baked goods already pre-made from the store, and then you just sprinkle the herb up in there, and that be that. I'm gonna make a video one day, y'all willing, showing how I do it. I like to make my edibles from scratch. I don't use no oil. I don't use no eggs. I don't use no milk. I don't even use much. Sometimes I don't even use flour. And I know y'all probably wondering, well, dang, how do you even make it? You'll see. I'm very creative. But nonetheless, we should be, especially y'all's chosen people, if we're going to use marijuana, we got to use it the old, ancient, biblical way that our ancestors used it. We may not be on the level to where we're, burning it as a burnt offering and stuff like that. And even with that, when Moshe did it, and the high priest did it, the Creator said that only they could do it. So you got to be ordained by the Most High to make the holy burnt offering, including cannabis and all those other herbs, those other three to four herbs. He said if anybody else make the herb, he'll kill them. Okay, so, or if anybody else make that blend, that special blend of herbs to make a burnt offering to the Most High, and you're not called or ordained to do that, then he will kill you, because it's a very holy, very highly anointed, burnt offering that only certain people in biblical history have, were ordained to, burn, to put together and burn to the Most High in front of the congregation of Israel. And so really today, especially in the land of our captivity, if we want to ease our stress, if we want to help heal our body, if we want to help lift our mind or make ourselves high to interact with the Most High, because a lot of us, we don't know how to fast. We don't know how to dry fast properly to, put our body in subjection, to humble our spirit, so that we could be on that level spiritually. Then, we need to utilize the marijuana first. First of all, we're supposed to be growing it ourselves, because did not in scripture it say that we supposed to be growers? We're supposed to work with our hands. It do say that. And a lot of our people we were growers. We had our own gardens and all of that stuff. We don't have it now because we fell from that grace. We fell from that understanding, that knowledge, which are in the law, statutes, and commandments of the Creator. So once we come back to that and we endeavor to do those things, and we put it in our minds to where we need to do this stuff, because we can't depend on our enemies, then, we could more so, utilize, especially marijuana, we could utilize it more properly, because we're one, growing it properly. We got our own organic seeds that are fertile. We got our own land that's fertile. The soil is fertile. What else? We're using natural springs, you know what I'm saying? We're using the right water and stuff like the right nutrients and all of that stuff. And not only that, we are preparing it properly. So it all starts with growing your own food. And I'm not just talking about marijuana, you know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about anything. You know, we cannot continue to get it from our open enemy, because they taking it, they spraying it with chemicals, carcinogenic chemicals, herbicides, pesticides. They putting fillers in it, you know, to stretch it out to make more money for themselves. So a lot of the stuff that we're eating is not even wholesome. It's not even pure. It's just all messed up. So the Most High, that's one of the reasons why he said that we need to separate from our people. We need to gather together, O nation not desired. You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to be holy. If we got differences, if we not getting along, we need to drop that crap and we need to just work together, force ourselves to work together. But do it from a righteous perspective. Don't just be hypocritical, but like, man, I'm going to deal with this Negro because we Israel and the Most High said that we supposed to. No, we supposed to love each other also. We ain't supposed to force if we don't like each other, we ain't getting along with each other, then we got to pray to the Creator that we get over that. We can't just be holding a grudge and then gathering together and we looking at each other sideways, or you know what I'm saying? But we coming together just because, you know what I'm saying, it's the Shabbat or whatever, but we don't really like each other. No, we can't do that because it's demons, it's demonic spirits attached to that. We got to all have the same mind, and, you know, we got to all have the same spirit. We got to be one body, one spirit, you know what I'm saying, in the Most High Creator, Yahuah. And so, again, if we ain't got no connections right now on marijuana, organic marijuana, we got to start growing it ourselves if that's what we're into. Again, I know that marijuana is not for everybody, but at the same time, marijuana is not only available for everybody, it is good for everybody. Marijuana is naturally created and as a result is naturally for the body. It's created for the body. It's just, again, it got to be grown right. It got to be handled right. It got to be prepared right, and it got to be consumed properly. And that proper has to align with the scriptures. Again, it says in creation, it says that, you know, he gave all herb-bearing seed, you know, all herbs bearing seeds for food. And in one scripture, he say, I forgot where it is, but it says green herbs. What color is marijuana? For the most part, the leaves, the stem, and all that is green. Again, I know that every herb on the planet is not consumable, nor is it medicinal. You got a lot of wild plants that are just meant to kill bugs. They're just meant to kill bugs, pesky bugs. They keep your garden, you know what I'm saying, clear of bugs that are going to kill your plants and stuff like that, like poison